Hey, welcome guys to the next video. In the last video, we have added two integers, right? So in this video, you are going to give two integers or numbers to your computer and your computer is going to add those for you. Okay, so before going into, I would recommend subscribing to the channel and hitting the bell icon to get notified whenever I will post a new video. So we are going to understand how to write that program that could add those numbers for us. So if you have seen the last video, we have added two integers, but those integers were predefined, like we have assigned those values manually to add those. But if you are new to this channel and watching this video for the first time, I would highly recommend going to that video. That will make you little bit confident about this video. So in that video, we have declared some variables, assigned those variables and created another variable to store the calculated value. But things are a bit different here. Instead assigning those values manually, we are going to ask our users to enter those values for us. So let's get into the slides to see how are we gonna do that. So as we have seen before, our C program actually follows three main steps. The first step is going to be our declaration, second step is going to be our assignment, and third step is going to be our calculation. So now we will move to our first step, that is declaration. So we are here in the declaration part. So as you have seen before, we could declare some integer variables to store our integers. So we are going to do the same thing. We are going to ask C to give us those boxes in which we could store our integers. So to define or declare an integer variable, we were writing something like int to define the integer variable and the name to the integer variable. So we could do the same thing here. So we could write something like int number 1 to define the first variable and int number 2 to define the second variable. So that was our declaration part. So we are here in our assignment part where we could add some values to our variables, but we are not going to do that manually. Rather, we will ask our users to enter those values for us. So to get and store those values from our users, we could use another function in C programming language called scanf function. It is a function similar to printf function, where printf was printing some values to our users. It is going to get some values from our users. So similar to the printf function, we could write the scanf function. To get the input from our user, we could write something like scanf with brackets and double quotes and %d, which is similar to the printf function. So similar to a printf function where the %d was printing some values to our users, here the scanf function is going to get those values from our users. So after writing %d, we will use another comma and we will write something like ampersand and the variable name. So this ampersand sign and the variable name is going to store that value in our variables. And we will end this statement by adding a semicolon. So to write that in our code, we will write something like scanf with brackets and double quote, %d with a comma and ampersand number 1. Similarly, for the second variable, we could write something like scanf brackets with double quotes and %d next with a comma and ampersand number 2, and don't forget the semicolon. So we are here now in our calculation part. So we have declared those variables and we have assigned those variables by taking those inputs from our users, and now we are going to add those variables to print that final result for users. So similar to the previous program, we are going to create another variable called result and we will assign the value by adding those two input numbers, like result equals to number 1 plus number 2. So finally, we have completed those three steps, right? So we are here in code blocks to execute those three steps to see whether that C program is actually working or not. So if you remember, we have written something like this, like int num1 and int num2 for those variables, and num1 equals to 32 and num2 equals to 43 for those assignment. And this was our result, and this was our printf statement. So as we are getting those inputs from our user, so this assignment part is going to be removed. So we are not going to use this piece of code, and we will comment this out. In C programming, you could comment a line of code by adding 2 forward slashes. So if you don't know, just add 2 forward slashes to comment those single line of codes. So now we are going to use some scanf functions to take those inputs from our users. So we will write something like scanf, brackets and double quotes, %d, and with this comma and ampersand sign, number 1, to store that value in number 1. And the second scanf function like scanf with brackets and double quotes, and we will write something like %d with a comma and ampersand sign and number 2. Okay, so that is our second input from our user. So we will modify this code by adding number 1, number 2. We will modify the result like number 1, number 2. So you have written your C program that is going to take those inputs from your user and add those inputs. So now we will see how this addition calculator is actually working. So we are going to build and run this program by just clicking here. Okay, so no error. So we will enter those two values like 23 and let's do something like 34. So you can see the C program is actually working, and it is adding 23 and 34 to print out 57. So okay, let's run the C program again to see for another example. So for number 1, for number 2, and here you go. This program is actually running completely fine. So that's your C program taking those inputs from your user and adding those values. So thank you so much guys for watching this video, and if you have any doubts, so you could ask me in the comment section below. I will answer those questions. So please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification icon so you get notified for future updates. You could follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I hope you have liked this video, and please like or dislike to give any feedback. Peace and have a good day.